Do you make Fortnite maps? Ever wish you could build your latest idea twice as fast? Or do you consider yourself a creative expert? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then I've got 3 tips and tricks that will turn you into a map making machine. And a trick that even some top tier map makers don't even know about. So let's hop right into it with tip number 3. This tip will literally make you double your map making speed. And to explain how, we first need to get a baseline test. So let's throw up a timer and let's see how long it takes to fly from one end of the XL thermometer island all the way to the other. Even at 3.0 flight speed, it still takes us around 40 seconds to get all the way across. Pros know about this tip, and this is how they are able to make such amazing maps at such a fast rate. With just a couple of minutes and a bit of pre-planning, you can cut the amount of time it takes to travel across these new XL thermometer islands all the way down to roughly like 5 seconds. That's 800 times more efficient. This trick is super simple and it only takes one channel and one device. Take out a map indicator device and head to your first POI. You're gonna place this bad boy down and you're gonna set it up to enable when receiving from channel 1. Then we're just going to go back and we're going to set the text to the name of our POI. And then we're gonna come down here and click on the little wheel and we want to rename this device. And we're just gonna type the name of our POI in again. Then we're gonna hit OK, and now we're just going to copy and paste all over our map with all of our POIs, and we're gonna label them all out just like we did the first one. And by the end, you should have something that looks like what I have on screen now. And what we've just done is allowed us to utilize the teleport feature inside the channel browser. Since we set everything to channel 1, we are instantly greeted with a list of all of our POIs, and right next to each option is a teleport button. This trick alone will double your map making speed by cutting out all the wasted time flying between different areas building out your map. And you would be surprised how much time you don't even know you're wasting until you do this for the first time. Tip number 2. This is something I actually just learned recently, and even some of the top creative mechanics in the world had no idea this was possible until just last week. Only options available for spawning is spawn pads, sky, and current location. The issue with the sky spawn is often that the predetermined location isn't always where you want it to be, and that's where this tip comes in. If you take a spawn pad and literally just rotate it upside down, you can now set the spawn location to spawn pads instead of sky, and now, as you can see, as soon as we spawn in, we're actually going to be in like the skydiving animation. So you guys can pick and choose the exact location players will be dropping in from, and it's quite literally just 200 IQ. I'm curious if any of you guys actually knew this was possible. Let me know down in the comments. And finally, tip number 1. You guys definitely want to get in the habit of making this the first thing that you do when you start making every single map. The amount of time wasted when you're trying to test mechanics is insane, especially if that first test isn't successful. Then you have to go back and make adjustments to each device and change one setting at a time until finally you get it right and you realize you just didn't have it enabled at the game start. But before I show you how all the top tier map makers are polishing up their mechanics in literally seconds, we once again need to get a baseline for how much time you're actually wasting. And to do that, we're going to throw another timer up on screen, and we're going to start the timer when we start the game and end the timer when we are back in the same location in edit mode, and we're using all the default island presets. And no matter how mechanically gifted you are, oftentimes you're testing a mechanic 5, 10, 15 times, even more than that maybe, making one change at a time, just trying to get it to work. And when you have a bunch of mechanics like arena points, random loadouts, and all that stuff, there's a lot of stuff to be testing and a lot of time wasted starting and stopping the game. Believe it or not, we're wasting at least 37 seconds, but if you can get into the habit of doing this every time you make a new island, you can test and fix your mechanics in as little as 8 seconds. It's super easy. We're just going to go to our My Island settings and we're going to go to the Game tab. First, we're going to set spawn location to current location. Then just 2 settings below that, we also want to set post-game spawn location to pre-game location. A few more settings below that, we're going to turn game start countdown off. Then we're just going to click on the UI tab and we're going to set the game winner display time and the game score display time to don't show. I know I'm super guilty of not doing this, and I have wasted more time than I'd like to admit testing mechanics without doing this because I was just too lazy or I forgot to change them. And from this video forward, I will always take the 10 seconds to change these settings first before I do any building whatsoever on any new island, and you all should too. But click here to master creative devices with my Creative 101 series. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay up.